Hello students. In this series of videos we're going to be looking at a number of geometry facts. So what I mean by that is, for example, the angles of any triangle add to 180 degrees is a geometry fact. So we're going to make the assumption that you've been exposed to some geometry already. You know, for example, what an equilateral triangle is, an isosceles triangle, and so on. So based on that assumption, let's get started. Now, when I've taught this in the past, I've normally had 12 geometry facts that I taught to students. The textbook that I'm currently using has this fact as well. So I'll just add it in for the sake of completeness. And geometry fact is, if I've got two angles that add together to make a 90-degree angle, then angles in a right angle add to 90 degrees. So fairly obvious, I hope, that that's a true statement. And here's how we can go about using that to find an unknown angle. So I'm going to set these two questions out in slightly different ways, and you can decide which one you prefer. So for this question, I'm going to say, well, x plus 35 equals 90. And normally we have to give, in geometry, we have to give a rationale or a reason as to why we make statements like this. So the reason for this one, of course, is angles in a right angle add to 90 degrees. I don't want to have to write out that in English, so we use what are called coded reasons, which are just little diagrams that basically indicate what the reason is. So there's the diagram. When you see that, you can read it as angles in a right angle add to 90 degrees. Okay, so having done that, I can now go ahead and find the size of the unknown angle x. Whoops. Subtract 35 from both sides, like so, and x equals 55 degrees. And there's the answer, and there's the reason for it. Okay, having a look at this next one, what I can write here, I know that these three angles all add to 90 degrees. So I'm going to set this one out slightly differently. I'm going to actually do some of the work in my head and say x is 90, take away 38, take away 28. And again, I have to give a reason for that, same as before. Angles in a right angle add to 90 degrees. And now I've got to just work out what the size of angle x is. So I'll bring up my calculator. And x equals 90, take away 38, take away 28, and x equals 24 degrees. So a lot of my students prefer to just write that. They can see that x has to be 90 minus the sum of those two, or 90 minus that, and I'm happy with that for the setting out. Okay, stop the video and have a go at the third question down here, please. Okay, welcome back. Well, I'll do the setting out on this one similar to that, just to have a comparison between these two. So what I know is x plus 23 plus 14 adds to 90. And the reason I know that is because angles in a right angle add to 90 degrees. Okay, add like terms. In this case, just add the numbers. And that gives me 37. Whoops. X plus 37 equals 90. Take away 37 from both sides of the equation. And x equals, let's see, what do I need? 53 degrees. Okay, and that's the first of the geometry facts. Angles in a right angle add to 90 degrees.